Hello everyone. This is gonna be a short video, maybe. I don't know, depends. So where I left off, I do have to be careful on when I'm doing my medication. In the last video I showed you my pill caddy. I showed you my this one over here, and I also did show you what goes with it. So again, like another demonstration of, fruit, cheese, nuts, and the water. Not water, but I mean, you can have water. And, your little pill thing here. But anyway, I did want to talk a little bit about what happened. So I put my, apparently I put my, penicillin in my coffee instead of the container. And this, is why I say paying attention to what you're doing is very important. I think I got so involved in my video that coordination, I don't, want to make excuses for that, but these ended up in here instead of ending up in here. So I did dump my coffee out. I'm not drinking it because there's no telling how much, because where they started melting, you don't know how much penicillin I'm going to be drinking. So that was an accident. So I'm going to be rinsing my coffee cup out and getting a fresh cup of coffee. So as I was explaining the pill caddy, I always do this to help me keep track of my medication that I take a day. I do this to help me keep track of what I do a day. So my morning routines are a little different. I do have like my food over here that I showed you. But again, getting back to the point, you do want to pay attention to what you are doing, because I lost one of my covers and it ended up on top of another cover, but I couldn't see it because it blended in. So you always want to make sure, number one, where you put in your covers. You want to make sure you know where you put in your pills and not in your coffee. So you always want to pay attention to what you are doing. And that my last video was one of the demonstrations for that. Well, not demonstration per se, but that my coffee and my pills were an accident. But the coordination with the covers and the putting them where you can find them is also important. So we're going to chop that up for a learning experience. Like I was saying in my videos, I am doing some routine videos. So my last video was my morning routine. Well, part of my morning routine, I showed you my food that I have in a day. I showed you how I filled up my medications. And I showed you the what I take out with me when I go out during the day. Sometimes I will take out my breakfast or I will take out my lunch. Depending, or I'll take out a snack with me if I don't have time to eat any of those. if I have a doctor's appointment, but I always carry a pouch, a juice pouch with me. I can also put applesauce in here. I can put smoothies in here. I can put like whatever I need in here. But again, I do my exercises in the morning. I do a lot of my routines in the morning. I do want to show you eventually. I do want to write out a schedule of a actual demo schedule, and I would like to show you what I have. I'm going to get off topic for a minute before I close out my video, because I want to talk a little bit about the elephant in the room, as you will. So I did another video talking about it, but I'm not quite sure if anyone quite understanding about what I was saying. So basically, someone came to me. I will do another routine video, but I do want to get this off my chest. Someone came to me a little concerned about the video I was doing on my caseworker, because they thought I was actually talking about the actual company, the lawyer, and the actual people involved. So again, when I do my roleplay videos, and when I talk about a certain event or something that I need to get my point across on, I always change the names so their identities are private. Molly was not her real name, and I probably should have, said that when I was doing the videos, that I changed the name for people for their confidentiality for, many reasons. So the caseworker name was not her real name. The supervisor's name was not her real name. The new caseworker's name was not her real name, and the investigator, that was not her real name. And the lawyer, that also was not his real name. So basically the names I was talking about are Molly, Brian, Amber, Amanda, and Donna. Oh yeah, and Jennifer. So basically, those are the names I picked to tell the story, or to explain what was happening in the situation, but I changed the names to go along with the story and the situation. So for me, when I tell a story of a situation or an event that happened, I always like to put a name to people that I'm talking about, but it's not their actual name. And I should have said that before I started talking about them. So that was my bad on my part. And so, like I was saying in my other video when I was talking about it, that I am not upset at the person who brought that to my attention. I'm kind of glad she brought it to my attention. It was a female. I'm not gonna, again, name names or talk about anything that, again, she is also anonymous. But, I am kind of glad she brought it to my attention, only because I know so many other people out there may have questions about it, and I wanted to answer them. So basically, this video may cut me off. So I may download these videos on YouTube, but I will have another part to this. So if I do get cut off, you'll know that there will be another part to this video. So basically, I want to say that, it took a lot of courage for her to talk to me. It wasn't anyone on YouTube. It was somebody who I see face to face, periodically, not all the time, but I did tell her that I'm not upset. I am glad that she brought it to my attention, because a lot of times when I do talk about certain situations, I do forget to say that these names are not the actual people, that I am changing the names for confidentiality reasons. So like, for example, Mason. I talk about my Mason stories a lot. Sometimes it will be like multiple people that I call Mason. But it's a name that I use for certain individuals. Mason is an actual person, but I changed his name to Mason to kind of help tell the story and keep his identity private. So there are certain names that I use for different types of stories that to help keep the identities for some certain people private. Like Mark. Mark is a support worker that comes in to help me out. Mark is not his actual name, so to keep his name private, I call him Mark. Basically, and so Jason, my husband, Jason is his actual name. My husband's name is Jason, but he gives me permission to talk about him and to use his name, which he is okay with me talking about and using his name on my channel, because he also has a channel out too, so we're both okay with that. But again, I just wanted to kind of specify some things. There are certain things I do talk about on my channel. There is a lot of rights violations that I talk about, so there are certain stories that I do have to change names on. I talk about a lot of staff people that I've had issues with, and when I do talk about them, I change their name for, again, confidentiality reasons. If I talk about a certain service, again, I do not name that service. I only change the name of certain people of that service to keep them private, to just talk about a situation. But, again, I am not upset with this individual for bringing this to my attention. Eventually, I think I would have had someone say something. And so a little while back, I did a story I talked about Mason, and someone said that, I have to be cautious about what I say about Mason. I think it was a certain situation. I can't remember the situation. But as I said, he gives me permission to talk about these certain situations. If he didn't give me permission to talk about these situations, I would not be talking about them. But again, to that individual who brought that up before, I'm not upset, with people. I want them to bring things to my attention. I want them to be able to talk to me. This is not. So the videos I do, I'm not judgy. I am open to any advice or whatever, and if something bothers you, I want you to tell me. I'm not gonna get upset about it. I'm not gonna get angry. I'm not gonna, say blah, 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 blah. So-and-so is blah, 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 blah. No. That's not my channel. That's not what I'm about. I am about, people being open and honest. I am an open book most of the time, but I am also, so like before when I started my channel, I'm creating a safe space for people. This is a safe space. No one gets judged. This is not, that type of channel. So if you are upset about something, or if you have any questions about my, videos, or if something bothers you about my videos and you want me to change them, I am willing to listen and do that. This is technically a learning channel. So I learn things as I go along. So like I said, if you have want to say something about that, or if you have questions about anything about my channel, and if you're kind of new to my channel and not sure, I'm okay with you guys asking questions and me answering them. I'm sorry, I had that a little backwards. So in another video, I'm gonna do to talk about a little bit about my channel and about what my channel is all about. I am going to talk about some of the videos that I do on here. I may not get to all of the videos, but I do want to talk a little bit about some of the videos that I do on here, so people are aware of some things. But anyway, we're gonna cut this video short because I don't want to run into an issue of going over certain things. But anyhow, if you guys have any questions, comments, let me know, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.